Hello and welcome to the Irish Sunday newspaper review on February the 21st, 2014. Yay.
Sunday morning brings the dawn in. It's just a restless feeling.
Wait, let's move to the first newspaper we have here, and we're going with first, number one, The Observer. The Observer running with the malarkey going on in Ukraine. Is the Ukrainian government bad and the people generally don't like them and there's some street fighting and that, but apparently this is being made slightly better because the Ukrainian president is fleeing Kiev as the opposition takes control and his aides are deserting him by the hour, and his key rival, Miss Yulia Tymoshenko, is free from jail, and she's looking very smug in that photograph and happy with herself, and as she should, that she's free from jail. Cameron says the union is crucial for North Sea oil. So this is David Cameron telling Scotland, please don't go away. That's David Cameron. The Sunday Times, moving on, let's go to the Sunday Times. And again, leading with the Ukraine, the dictatorship has fallen. The Ukrainian president, Viktor Yanukovych, I'm mangling that, fled the capital Kiev yesterday after a week of unrest in which 77 people were killed and hundreds injured. Shocking scenes you could see there on the internet over the week of protesters being picked off by snipers. Really nasty stuff, headshots and chest shots, no limbs and stuff like that, so shoot to kill. Rugby loses common touch. It's an annual rugby match between members of the Irish and British Parliament. Has been called off this year because the Irish side are pissed off that someone on the British side said an old man who got into the scrum at the end, a 70-year-old, smelled of wee. Shatter won't apologise for McCabe's slur. This is Alan Shatter in not wanting to apologise, shocker. The Justice Minister will not apologise to Sergeant Maurice McCabe on corrected Dáil record after suggesting the whistleblower did not cooperate with an inquiry into penalty points cancellations, which he did. So either, should apologise for that, or he's just kind of willfully misrepresenting and being a bollocks, which would be another surprise for our Justice Minister, Alan Shatter. What else? Coogan attacks Philomena critics. So this is Steve Coogan and his film Philomena, which he's bringing to America. It's been criticised by American Catholics, I should say, for not being nice about Catholicism, apparently. Read more about that later. The Irish Times, not a Sunday newspaper, but sold on a Sunday. A Ukrainian leader is signing EU brokered deal, but protesters want his removal. So this is kind of yesterday's news, but still it'll be worth kind of reading and getting that perspective. Review of grant to mother of art cancelled executive. Oh, I didn't know about this. Interesting. Because you see, I was talking to some artists there recently about kind of the culture of the Arts Council. I'll get into this later, but one of the things they're saying is the Arts Council is very anti-entrepreneurial. It doesn't encourage artists to take on business skills. It instead encourages artists to take on middle management, people to do the business for them, which a lot of artists feel is not very enabling. And also there is a thing about kind of peer reviewing of artists, reviewing other artists' submissions to the Arts Council for grants. That's also kind of gone. So there's a lot of grumbling by artists about what's going on in the Arts Council. That makes this kind of an interesting story, this kind of apparent nepotism going on. And we have some stuff from the Weekend Magazine stuff. I'm not going to read Weekend Magazine. I don't have time to read the bloody Weekend Magazine. I've got to read 11 newspapers today. Okay, the Irish Sunday Mail. Avalanche of allegations. This is again the GCOS scandal. Bugging of the Garda Ombudsman. Enda Kenny will be sent dossier for 200 claims of Garda misconduct. Female Garda whistleblower emerges. This could be quite astonishing. If anyone remembers that book about the band Garda that brought out, and there were some quite disturbing allegations that came off the back of that as well. And so it would be interesting to see a culture of sexism, stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see what comes of that. Sergeant McCabe is suing the state. Good for him. Although, I guess as a citizen of the state, that also means he's, suing me, which is, here. Minister of State reveal MOS? Who is it? Who's MOS? Reveal more detail. Oh, Mail on Sunday. Reveal more details on 12 accusations sent to Shatter. And this is Brian O'Driscoll, like that. And he's holding his head high. Oh, England beat Ireland. That's good. My brother's out. He hasn't watched a match yet, but he'll be pissed off at that. As I'm sure lots of Irish people are. There you go. The Sun on Sunday. Freddie sneaks in for drug summit. This is Fat Freddie Thompson, who seems to be very popular with the Sunday tabloids. And there's a possible disguise. He might be disguised as that kind of a silent character you man who did Rob C. Nesbitt did for ITV when they were kind of looking for a second Mr. Bean and the Baldy Man. So yeah, he could look like that. Here's Supermodel cops off with Daniel Sturridge. Daniel Sturridge, Liverpool striker, who does that really irritating dance when he scores goals, and he's having sex. Having sex with a supermodel, putting his penis successfully in a supermodel. Rad supermodels and footballers banging genitals. Who'd have thunk it? Here, the Irish Sunday Mirror. Bought in Romania, sold for sex in Ireland. Gangs making millions from human trafficking. So this is the really disturbing. I mean, it goes on. It goes on. It does sound like it's getting worse. Is it? I'm not sure, but obviously this is appalling. But young sex slaves in Romania being sold to Ireland by trafficking gangs making millions from CD vice trade. Inside a really kind of disturbing. It's just horrible, the kind of little pull quote. I'll just get it out here. Buy these girls for 600 each and they will do 20 clients a day, no problem. Don't beat them and they'll be good. There's just such a, it's a very brutal, nasty. Anyway, I'll get into that later. Irish Sunday People, 40,000 illegal bed tax charges. This is Ian Duncan Smith, who is a bollocks, and his bedroom tax, which is also a bollocks. And this is a system that's been brought in Britain essentially, where people on social welfare are receiving a housing benefit, which is a different system in Britain, but I won't get into that now. But anyway, people in Britain receive a housing benefit. You have an empty free bedroom in your house, you're taxed on it. The rationale being that this will encourage people who are on benefits to let their rooms out and stuff like that. But this is obviously a problem for people who are widowers, people who've kind of had kids move out of their house and stuff like that. And a lot of people who aren't paying the bedroom tax are getting kind of kicked off their benefits wholesale. And it seems to be a pretty nasty system. Anyway, we'll get into that later. Although, it is in Britain, so it's not independent. In the Line of Fire, her Gardaí scapegoat McCabe. Her Gardaí scapegoat and McCabe over killer release. This is actually quite an old story. A lot of people are familiar with it. This is a story about Jenny McGrath, who was assaulted. Oh God, it's a real, vilely corrupt story. It's to do with how the Garda whistleblower, Jerry McCabe, is it Jerry McCabe? God, I hope it's... Oh, Maurice McCabe, sorry. The Garda whistleblower, Maurice McCabe. There was an investigation into this woman, Kenny McGrath. She was attacked, and later the attacker got off, and he ended up trying to kidnap someone and then murder someone. And there was a lot of incompetency in that. There was an investigation, and they tried to finger Maurice McCabe in the investigation, even though he wasn't involved in it whatsoever, because he was a whistleblower. And I'm kind of familiar with the story. Definitely heard about it a few weeks ago, but now the Sunday Independent are running with it, which is good. It's good. More people should know about it because it's an appalling story. And the Sunday Business Post, new efforts to safeguard IRBC mortgage holders. So this is a whole hoo-ha over the IRBC. It's being wound down. Its assets are being, sold off in the secondary market and all this kind of jazz. And there's fears that there's about 13,000 mortgage holders in the IRBC in that. And there's fears that their loans will be sold off to vulture capitalists who will, not be very nice to them, let's say. And so they're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. The second story, and I think... Okay, IRBC is huge and all that, and billions and billions and billions, but Shatter got senior official to dismiss allegations by Garda whistleblower. So this is Minister for Justice Anna Shatter got a senior Garda to dismiss our Garda whistleblower's allegations of improper cancellation of penalty points before the Garda investigation had even finished. This is quite an astonishing allegation. I think it's a pretty new one, so we'll get into that later, but I'm kind of surprised that this is the second story and not the first story in the Sunday Business Post. Yeah, maybe that's just the audience is more interested in Irish student girl whistleblower thing. HSE could close some Dublin emergency departments again. And the Sunday Business Post has been quite relentless on its coverage of the HSE in recent weeks. It's pretty much been on the front page almost every week for the last 2 months nearly. But this is a story that apparently they could end up closing some emergency departments in Dublin. It's happening all across the country, of course. Very bad. The Sunday World, Sharon Stalker revealed. So this is Sharon Viola in a weird story. She's been stalked by this driving instructor who, before she was Sharon Viola, reader extraordinaire, she was Sharon Viola, Irish teacher in Portmarnock, and apparently this guy was a fifth-year student of hers and got the hots for her, somewhat understandably, and he's been sending her bad photoshopped images and filthy messages, and the cost being called in. He's only been called in for questioning for 24 hours, by the way. He hasn't actually been charged. So there's another two kind of side issues here, which is, A, obviously the Gardaí leaked this to the Sunday World, because who else would leak it? He's not going to bloody well leak it, is he? And B, I don't know if he's actually being charged, he's been questioned. So, whilst it's obviously a terrible thing he's been accused of doing, and sympathies will obviously go to Sharon Viola, it does seem a bit unfair to kind of have someone named like this when they haven't actually been charged or found guilty of anything. To my knowledge, now I'll have to read. I've gone and glanced at the story, so I'll read it in a bit more detail. But I don't know. I just think that's bad. The Daily Star on Sunday, Cowell hires a butler for baby, and this is Simon Cowell, who, as I was saying last year, Tragic News and Music Lovers has reproduced. And apparently, the newborn, Simon Cowell has hired a baby butler to help look after his son. So the butler, it sounds like, is actually a baby, which is, I don't know, there should be laws against that. But anyway, that's Simon Cowell. Rooney rues all the wages, Rain Rooney, because he's being paid 300,000 sterling a week for his fantastic pig bladder kicking things and grinding out. That's the Irish rugby, and that. Yeah, that's it. Star. And that's it! Okay, great. Well, come back later when I have all these read, and I will have them all read, because unlike last week, I've actually slept. In the meantime, have a good Sunday, enjoy your morning, and all that jazz, and take care.
By my side, early dawning, Sunday morning. It's just a wasted